Hello and welcome to HighCast. This episode of HighCast is recorded in the studios of Highland FM. Go to highlandfm.org.au to find out more about volunteering. This episode is brought to you by Rad Solutions. Rad Solutions offers strategic youth engagement solutions, and at the moment they're offering a special podcast offer. If you mention HighCast when you get in contact, you can get 20% off youth resilience workshops. Go to radsolutions.com.au. That is out of the way. Our guest today is Natalie, but it's Nat Carter. Nat is a personal trainer, a fitness expert who operates group, individual and online training in the Highlands. Welcome, Nat.
Hello.
How you going?
I'm super.
How super is super?
Super is super. Super is, I've been up not super early, so that's always good. But yeah, I like to keep quite a high baseline of feeling good.
Okay, I'm going to have to unpack that. A high baseline of feeling good, because this is HighCast, and people, if you Google HighCast, that's like people getting high and podcasting. So
oh, okay. Well, we're not doing that. This is all about health.
Yeah.
This is health and fitness hour. But look, I think even if I did feel a little bit crappy, I think I probably still would say I'm great.
Okay.
Because that whole thing for me of, it's a little bit of the just kind of roll with it until you start to feel good. My job is amazing, so I rarely feel bad.
Okay, so
even at 5:30.
You've been up since 5:30. You've been watching other people do squats and lunges.
Absolutely, and like yelling at people. It's like the best thing. It's like not in a dominatrix kind of way, but it's like that, and I get paid for it.
I often think that golf or hockey is a great game because you get to walk over and just hit something really, really hard. So I imagine that personal training is the same. It's like, get down, give me 20.
Look, I like to, whilst a lot of it can be like that, because I deal mostly with females, we don't do too much yelling and intimidation, because for women it doesn't really work for us. It's not like, I think that's quite a masculine energy to have, like,
is it?
Related,
I don't know.
Related to sport and to personal training and kind of getting the most out of people. I think sometimes it's a little bit of, it's masculine.
So it's more gentle persuasion.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of, there's mental games, there's persuasion. It really depends on the client, how you kind of have to approach that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a personality thing as well.
So do you find yourself as much a mental trainer as a physical trainer?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. To me, I've done this for a long time, 15 years, which I feel that, I know that you're thinking, oh my God, she looks so amazing for her age. No.
I didn't know how a 21-year-old could be doing this for 15 years.
Exactly. But no, the thing when I first started out, which was 15 years ago, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be really amazing, because what I'm going to learn is exactly how to train people, tell them what to do, get the whole, learn how to lift weights and be super fit myself, and it will all be fantastic. And that's actually nothing that really is involved. Yes, of course it is. But the mental games and the reasons that people are coming to you in the first place has very little to do with exercise there. So there is a lot of that emotional, mental.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's something. So when I was preparing for this podcast, I didn't think that I thought we might touch on a little bit of this, but really, I'm really intrigued by motivation.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by the reasons people do or don't do things.
And I would say it's more like, be more fascinated by why they don't do things.
Yeah, okay.
So why they let those roadblocks kind of get in their way, and why they go, I really want to do that, but they never do
I'd rather eat a piece of cheesecake instead.
And look, that's all fine. We don't want to do too much of associating good foods, bad foods, and that cheesecake will make you fat, whereas an apple won't make you fat. I think like that's another That's another podcast.
All right,
maybe.
we'll have that one another day, yeah.
But I do think that sometimes we tend to just go, oh, well, come on, it's exercise and just do it and everyone should do it. But not everyone loves exercise. It's not something that is an ingrained thing. I mean, I do. I don't do it fanatically and religiously, but it's definitely part of my day. For some people, they can't stand it. It's so not a thing that they think about.
Oh, okay. So when you're talking about the reasons people don't do things, it's understanding that exercise or activity isn't part of their persona or their regime. Okay,
no,
wow.
Yeah, it's something that they know they need to perhaps do it because they've read literature that said, you need to exercise and you need to diet.
You do need to exercise.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But it's just sometimes we can get through life, people in general, and we tend to do the bare minimum. And that's cool if you want to live that life. But I guess it's about, without sounding like, bloody Oprah or Tony Robbins, it's about living your best life. And if the best life means that you need to incorporate a little bit of exercise, but you need to get help with it, well then I think that you should do it. You should totally do it.
I started following Tony Robbins on LinkedIn, and it was the second worst thing I've done on LinkedIn. And that's not true, but he posts a lot, and it is quite preachy.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's exactly him doing it, but his posse, it's big business. Okay. It's big business.
At its core, what the persona is saying about, trying hard, being the best you can be, planning things out, being positive, they're really the right things. It's just after a little while, at such levels of intensity, you're kind of like, come on, man, just give me a break. I do want to eat a piece of cheesecake.
Yeah, and it's a little bit like eating a whole box of donuts.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need to do that, and that's a little bit like watching episode after episode or listening to episode after episode of a motivational speaker, and you're like,
yeah, okay,
whoa, it's overload. It's too much. It's too much to take in. And then what happens? What's that? Paralysis by analysis. You know too much. You've got too much information, and then you kind of go, ooh, I know too much now. So now I want to get unmotivated, and now I'll just go sit back on the couch and eat my cheesecake.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happens.
Yeah, okay. I get that at work sometimes, but that's the way things go. So what motivates you?
What motivates me? I'm quite inspired by people who do amazing things. So I don't know that you need to have an amazing life.
Yeah.
But for people who...
I think people who are doing amazing things kind of have an amazing life, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's... They
but it's perspective. What's amazing?
This is what it is. So perspective, I'm not talking about... You don't have to go and trek the Himalayas, and I think, wow, you're such a cool person.
Yeah.
But it comes in varying things. But the things that really motivate me are people who are doers. Like, I am such a doer. I hate the sitting around and I wish I could do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna
do things. I've got an idea. What do you reckon? Oh, that's a terrible idea. These are all the reasons why you couldn't do it. My God, that
I call them. They're really low ebb kind of people.
It just destroys me inside. Yeah. I can't be around people like that.
Energy vampires, low ebb people. I do not get. So things that motivate me. Not necessarily high energy. Like, I've got a dog who's like that, so that's enough. But just like a nice kind of level of interacting, being quite inspired by the other person as well too. I think when you can have a really great conversation with someone and there is a lot of input kind of back and forth, I think that's quite exciting to me. So yes, working hard and having that kind of high work ethic, that's a motivational thing for me. But also just I guess it's like a personal goal list. I'm lucky that I'm quite inherently motivated, intrinsically, I would say, as opposed to externally motivated. I've read the book.
I was going to say, we're going to have to Google intrinsically.
Well, or inside. So some people have a lot of internal motivation, and then other people really need to pull that from other people. So you're either like high vibe or low vibe.
There you go. And what?
Let's just really narrow it down.
And what's your feeling about people in the Highlands? Are they high vibe, low vibe, in between vibe?
Okay, look, I was thinking about this when I came, and I've only been here for 2 years, so I'm like a Sydney person, and I know what everyone
well, you
thinks.
and I think May this year I'm 2 years in the Highlands, yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit more than you.
Okay.
So I'm more local than you are.
Wow, okay. This is a competitive side. We're going to talk about competition in a bit.
Actually,
Okay.
I'm quite competitive.
Yeah, I can't half tell.
Anyway, as we're digging on the chairs right now. Look, we moved here and I was still kind of rushing back and forth to Sydney and doing my gig there. And I don't know that I really, I definitely would not say that I threw my whole self into living in the Highlands. Whilst I loved it, I couldn't think of any better decision that we'd made to move here. I still didn't give it 100%, but I've kind of done that now. And the thing is that I'm meeting way more people just in general, and whether or not they're high or low vibe or middle vibe, I believe, and this is so not my saying, and it's also one of those kind of health guru things to say, but your vibe attracts your tribe. So
yeah, okay, no, I believe in that.
And that's something that I think, a lot of, because of the social media world, people will say, oh, you're really real. I like it how you're real. I don't meet a lot of real personal trainers or fitness people, whatever it is. And I just think, but I'm just being myself. You don't have to have a persona. And I think that's kind of, I don't know. I think that's what happened when we started having all this social media and things like podcasts and where you get to be a celebrity out of nothing. I think that people started to pretend they were something that they weren't.
Sure.
But that's on a massive tangent.
No, it's not. Well, that's the whole purpose of this. These
but I love the Highlands. I think that there's so much to offer, and it's so not just this. You ask people in Sydney, and it's a sleepy town, and it's the country, but I mean, it's so not. It's not. There's so much going on here.
Yeah, I say to people that I live a city lifestyle in a regional area.
Totally, and that's spot on.
Yeah, I get the ability to do great restaurants, great entertainment, but within 5 minutes I'm in Rolling Green Hills.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Barrel is Bondi Junction to me. It's not
interesting. Go on.
Oh, it's so Bondi Junction.
On Saturday it feels like Bondi Junction. Yeah,
and I mean, I'm a Bundanoon girl, so
hang on. You're calling yourself a Bundanoon girl now?
100%. That's my hometown.
What now?
That's my hometown. I think I've almost left Sydney behind for dead.
Almost.
Sydney's dead to me.
Almost. So what does that mean? What does almost left? What's the remaining bits that are clinging?
I guess because I was, I grew up there. I was born. I born there. I was born there. And the eastern
That is a personal trainer, not an English teacher.
Not an English teacher. Look, the eastern suburbs is a real, it's a real cliquey kind of, that's like the place to be. And if you don't live in the eastern suburbs, well, for people who live in the eastern suburbs, and when you don't live in the eastern suburbs, it's like, what? Where else could you live in Sydney? But there's so many cool places.
Where it's affordable, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And the affordability thing really came in it for us. We're definitely not rolling in it. So I wanted the house and the garden and
you certainly can't do that unless you're rolling in it in the eastern suburbs.
No, exactly. And I mean, I think there's a lot of prestige and a lot of wankery, really, that people are just living a life that they may not be able to afford, but come, and you really only have to go 90 minutes. It's really not that far. They sit in traffic all day, and have the audacity to kind of turn around and go, oh, but it's 90 minutes. For them, it feels like it's really,
but
the end of the earth.
I think people feel that about some of the places in the Highlands too, is there is a level of affluence in some parts of the Highlands that not. I don't think it's as dramatic as in Sydney, but there is a divide.
Oh, there's pockets
within our community, and it might not be a huge divide, but there is certainly a wealth and I don't want to say inequality divide, because it's not an inequality divide, but there is definitely a divide between wealth in our community. Yeah. Significant.
Yeah.
There's people who are multi millionaires, and then there's people. in housing commission in the Highlands. But I also like that about the Highlands. I like that my children will walk past $1 million home and a housing commission on the same street.
Yeah.
But it actually keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
Because if you're constantly surrounded
sucked
by
into that millionaire who bought that house.
But each to their own, I guess.
No, but look, I think that with that kind of you're anything that's like 90 minutes to anywhere, where you've got that south, north, whatever, you're always going to get people with big budgets that can come and get their country house. But a lot of it's just live here.
Yeah,
we just live here. This is home.
And you and I are probably just discovering this, and it's probably what locals always knew, that it is just people living their lives. You drive through it and you're like, oh, Bowral's such a beautiful area, but it's just people going about their business. And
I think that's what you've touched on there, with just everyone's just living their normal life. It's just because you're from another place and you think, isn't this quaint?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's like people don't think that.
One of the things that when you were talking then, that it's one of the topics that I wanted to ask you, is that quite often people see personal training, not necessarily personal trainers, but personal training as a pursuit of the wealthy.
Totally.
And that it is, if you don't have an expendable income, then, I could never do personal training because it's going to be too expensive for me. Is that something that you said totally, is something you're conscious of?
Oh, look, and when I first started, it was like a really big thing. It was like only fancy people do personal training.
Yeah.
Little old me, I can't afford it and I can't do this. And I understand that, you've obviously got to have a level of disposable income, but you've also got to have a level of disposable income to go get waxing done every day, get your get waxing every day. You're not a gorilla, but
I laughed too loud in the microphone then.
whatever schedule your waxing's on. If you go get your hair cut, if you go get your hair coloured, whatever it is, kids' sports, all their, extracurricular activities, all of that stuff, it all adds up. But the thing is that with regards to personal training, there's so many options, I personally think, that you can do to get around that just big cost, what people perceive as a big cost, and get around it by things like group training with a friend, or also once you kind of sit there and assess the actual cost of feeling bad and not having really great fitness and being more sick
McDonald's
and going
4 times a week,
McDonald's and takeaways and whatever it may be, having to have a chiro appointment or a massage appointment every single week because your back's shot or whatever it may be. I mean, for $80, I don't see it as a massive amount of money to pay, like, for your health. And I know that sounds like, no, well, she's supposed to say that, but what price do you put on your health? It's a little bit like what price do you put on your lifestyle choice, your lifestyle and time and things like that. Health is one of those that goes in that category.
Yeah, I think and it probably ties into the conversation about motivation at the beginning. Is where are you motivated to spend your money?
Totally.
Are you motivated to spend your money on haircuts and waxing or McDonald's? Sorry, we're a podcast. We're being broken into. Lost my train. Oh, motivation. Of your of how you spend your money, right?
Yeah.
So it's just choosing that personal training is part of it.
It's like part of your thing.
Yeah.
And if it's not part of your thing, then that's totally cool.
Yeah.
But you don't need to the thing though is personal training, a lot of people have misconceptions about it. So they think, number one, they think it's just for wealthy people, and also that the trainer just stands around and doesn't really do a lot, and they just like tell you how to do push-ups and tell you how to do lunges and stuff like that. Yeah. Yes, all of that's true, but a really great trainer will get in there and actually like start to work a little bit more with the motivation and getting into those kind of important, really like cracking out the goals, and not just, I want to look good in a bikini, but things that are going to be like long-term goals.
I'm glad you talked about
things that make a difference, not wearing a bikini, because wearing a bikini and having that goal doesn't it's not something that's going to push you forever and ever to exercise and to live healthily.
There's two topics, and I'll say them now because I want to make sure I talk about both of them. The first is that I think people also have a persona that personal trainers, they go, okay, I'm looking for wealthy housewives who with a disposable income who may or may not turn up to training, but I'm going to make them commit to an ongoing fee structure.
Yeah.
And the second is about, is there, personal trainers do physical, learn how to do physical training. Is there an aspect to your personal training or other personal training that actually focuses on, for want of a better word, like a counselling side?
Look, I think there is. Like, I think it's just by nature. And look, every trainer is different. Yeah. That was kind of something that I was thinking about when I was coming here. It's always a big thing about choosing the right trainer for you, because I think a lot of people just go, oh, look, here he is. Here's my trainer. Well, but what happens if a male for you and you're a female? What happens if a male doesn't really get you?
Doesn't understand it, yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah. It's like a doctor or a counsellor.
It's exactly the same thing. And you have...
Or a dentist.
A dentist.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it reminds me.
I'm comparing you to a dentist. Yeah, so do I. Have you got a new dentist since you came
no,
down
I
here?
need
No,
to.
neither have I. So you haven't been to a dentist in over 2 years.
I'm just not going to go. I'm just... Until my teeth start to fall
Highlands
out.
has great water, so you don't have to worry about your teeth.
Yeah, I love the water here. That's one thing. That's one thing we notice. But, it is about you do really need to find the person you gel with.
Yeah,
because
okay.
number one, I'm not giving money to someone that I don't really like. That's just hands down.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I actually got a little bit peed when I brought that coffee. I didn't particularly like the whole vibe that was going on, but that
we can't
say the name because everyone thinks it's really amazing. I just thought they were all a bit dead inside. They didn't really have like, hey, how you going?
Well,
they were dead inside.
The motivation is really
nice
important
coffee.
to you.
Nice coffee. Look, just saying, I think this is, again, God, I'm such a tangent person. The Highlands to me is
That's what's the beauty of a podcast.
Yeah.
We're just talking.
The beauty of the Highlands is everyone's really low key. Apart from there is a section of people who are very intense, but to me it's real like, yeah, how you going? And everyone has a little chat and they've got time. Yep. That's what I love. That's what's very different to Sydney, because everyone's like head down on the phone. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me.
I don't want to ever see you again.
Yeah, please don't make eye contact. And yeah, that vibe at the coffee place wasn't really like that. But anyway, but we digress. Back to actually who it is that you're going to gel with to then go, yeah, that person's really going to motivate me and change me and allow me to like achieve my goals. I think that a lot of my clients have had that very physical trainer. Come on, get on that treadmill.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, we'll lift those weights. Let's do that. They didn't really achieve anything. Yes, they say they got a little bit fitter and whatever, but long term, there's no mindset shift. There's nothing.
I'm glad that you personally not only just said that, but I feel, and I might be wrong, that you're just a complete liar, but I don't think so.
She's a psychopath.
Yeah, but you actually, you talk about long-term goals and change. I feel like that's really important. Like, if you're looking for someone who you want to work with, then they should have your best interests.
And it doesn't happen. I think we're really sold, especially in the fitness industry, we're really sold on quick fix. Come on, 12 weeks. Guess what, sweetheart? You're going to have the hottest body in whatever. And because of social media, Facebook, Insta, all of it, you are just bombarded with all these pictures of these before and afters. And see, to me, that was like when I first started on social media. So like whenever it came out, 2007, I want to say Facebook was around, about that time.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
And we all got on, and everyone as trainers, we all did the before and afters, and we all did things like Tony Robbins motivation in the morning, make today your best day. And did all that, and people hate it. They really hate it. So I just went, you know what, that's so not for me, and I'm not going to be like every single other. I hate being the same as everyone anyway. That's not my vibe. So when you start to actually talk to people and interact with people, they're like, oh my God, I hate those slogans. They don't do anything for me. They actually make me feel really bad. And seeing those BITCHs in, bikinis and things like that all the time, and being all sexy and booby over Instagram and social media, or holding their baby that they've just had and they're like a bikini model, that is so not inspiring. It's definitely not inspiring to the woman who's like at least 10, 20 kilos overweight, thinking, oh my God, like I totally hate myself and I'm just going to go either smash some wine or eat some cheesecake and that'll make me feel better.
Wine and cheesecake together.
Together, whatever. It's just, I think that there are groups of people who are extremely motivated by those people, but it's not the majority. It's definitely not.
I find that fascinating, actually, that people are motivated by something deeper. That they're willing to take on change over a long period of time and realize that it's something a little bit more than a quick fix. It's actually about fixing themselves.
And I think when you go through that undertaking, if you have someone to guide you that says, okay, I just want to let you know that this isn't going to be what you see in the movies.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a bit harder, and it's not just about sweat. It's probably more about tears, and it's about changing how you actually really think to then like become this new person. I think that's kind of like what needs to happen. And people who go, it's like everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid. If you're vibing with the same person, you will kind of go, yeah, I understand that. That's cool. I'll go down that path.
Yep.
Because I guess for a lot of my clients though is they've gone down the quick fix. They've all done it. Before.
Yes. We all make mistakes. Like I was thinking about this today.
Yeah.
My fitness journey's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And I feel it's probably been in the last couple of years that I'm actually doing things that are probably right for me.
Yeah.
But for 8 years prior, I just battled.
Yeah.
The entire way.
And isn't that a long time though? You think
8 years, a really long time.
And like, well, maybe this is a bad example, but would you struggle in a bad relationship for that long? Probably. I mean,
well, you probably would.
You may.
Yeah.
But, it's the same kind of thing. Like, why do something that's just not working? It's like, bashing your head against a wall.
So to explain a little bit more, it was working, just not. It could have worked significantly better.
Do you mean like you were just getting super burnt out, or because that's people always go hard. Men do.
So I used to do things like I would run 3 or 4 times a week at 10Ks plus every single time, and that was my fitness regime.
Yeah.
And it was I could run a long way and pretty fast, but after 6 months I'm like, well, nothing's changing.
Yeah, and you're a lean guy. He's a lean guy, people. He's a lean guy.
And then knees would start hurting, and I think, what do I do now? Well, I just stop. As opposed to learning other techniques.
Yeah.
And it's silly how it takes us so long to change and adapt.
But we generally go for breakdown before we go to like changing something.
And what you were saying before, like I wish I'd have someone tell me 10 years ago that, Dave, this is probably a much better way of going.
Hey, Dave, I just want to tell you something.
Yeah. So you're running 40Ks a week. Don't stop doing it, right? It's good for you, but there's other things you can do.
Yeah.
Lift heavy weights.
Yeah, my God.
For example, it's a really good thing to do. So, I'm fascinated whether do you deliberately have those conversations with your clients at the start, or is it something that organically happens? Does it happen at all?
Are you kind of talking about like the best, most effective way that we can like get to their goal?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that...
Or do you have a goal conversation to begin with?
Oh, always.
Or is it just turn up, start skipping?
Yeah. See that? Like start lunging now.
Yeah.
And just don't stop till I say.
Yeah.
No. I always do a consult. So because I feel like this whole podcast, I've said vibe way too much, but I want to know, because my relationship's long term, like I'm one of those people that I'm not wanting to see you for like a month and go, okay, so you've achieved everything now. See ya. That's not what I'm in it for. I'm actually in it for the longer term, because I know it's going to take a little bit longer with some some people. It depends
Yeah.
on your fitness level and where you're going and what your goals are. But we have to sit down and have a conversation and say, right, talk me through what your goals are. And if they're incredibly unrealistic in time frame,
Yeah.
body shape, age, etc., whatever, then for me as the professional, I need to say, let's just unpack some of that and let me give you a better kind of option, because I'm about realistic goals as opposed to unrealistic ones where, you know, we can't all just walk down the Victoria's Secret catwalk, you know, in 8 weeks. Some can. And if I was to, and I'm talking about just some people off the street who are very tall and lean like yourself, if you wanted to go on the Victoria's Secret catwalk model, runway, or Calvin Klein model,
If we were
is he
filming
even
this, I'm
still
blushing.
in business? It's just like, does Calvin Klein exist? Give me 8 weeks with you, training 3-4 times a week. Boom, you'd look amazing. You're a lean guy though. You got good structure to work with. However, someone who's, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, I'll keep going with the numbers, kilos overweight, like we got to do a lot of things around nutrition. We've got to do a lot of, like, what if they've never picked up a weight before?
Yeah.
We really need to like set the foundations and go through all of that. And people think, oh my God, it's going to take so long, so I'll just go back
But
to
that's
the
the
couch.
point.
And mentally, it's better for you. I want to say to those people, like, don't worry, it's really good for you to do this.
Yeah, or that it's going to take a long time, because things that take a long time are often really important.
And super worth it.
Yeah, nothing, and that's, again, I was saying before, I'm really interested about what motivates people, because lots of people are motivated by the short term. It's like, I want to do it now, and
Yep.
at the end of it,
I'm going to get married or whatever it is. Yep.
Whereas people who have the ability to commit to something and over a period of time, and whatever the delayed satisfaction, I've got to catch up on my psychology 101. But I say, like, in a year's time, I'm going to do this once a week for 52 weeks. And a year's time, I'm going to go back and compare my belt size, whatever it might be, and go, hey, look at what I've achieved. Like that, I don't think there's enough of that in our world, just in general.
People are so not about delayed gratification.
Yeah. See, there you go.
They just love quick fix. But I got to say that it's because of the media. The media do that to us. They make us monsters, and they make us really love that quick fix and love the, like, think about advertising. Like, it's all about now and you need it and and all of this stuff. So when it comes to health and fitness, you've got all those stupid ab machine thingy ads, and it's really funny. I remember this is years ago I trained a family, and they were one of them was really into all of that stuff. Super smart man, super intelligent, extremely wealthy, but loved that stuff and fell for it every single time. So their garage was filled with that stuff.
Oh, crap.
The ab twist, the this, the that. And it was like, oh my God, and he goes, I know.
I can't help myself.
Smart man, but I just can't help myself. And we are suckers for it. But when we tune out of it and we go, you know what? Nah, that's not for me. And I think failing a couple of times, you get to that point.
Yeah, or
and
you completely give up and you never go back.
Oh, you completely give up and you never go back, and you go, I hate that. That doesn't work for me. But that's BS.
It's interesting. It's another thing that I wanted to talk to you about. I've never been a gym person. I've always considered exercise to be part of my life.
Yep.
And there is a whole like, I'm a monkey. We're monkeys, right? We evolved from apes. Like, monkeys should be out in the world.
Monkeys should be in their trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to do exercise, like, it's really foreign to go to an air-conditioned room with all of this metal equipment around.
It's super weird. When you really, like, pack it down like that.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's totally strange. It's like a science experiment. And I've always felt like that. I've always thought, and I started, of course. Where else am I going to start? I mean, I was 15 years old in the gym.
Yeah. And I think as part, correct me if I'm wrong, but as part of you getting your personal training qualifications, you have to do a period of time in a gym, don't you?
You don't have to work in a gym, but you've got to like go into the gym and name all the machines and what muscles are working, and
it's really weird. Like,
I think though it would probably, like, just thinking about that quickly, I think that it would probably be quite intense for someone who's just learning about all the muscles and how they work and everything, to do it in such a way where you had a more functional outdoor environment.
Yeah, okay.
I think that indoor environment of now what I'm doing is like pretending I'm on one of those chest press machines, and you sit down and someone like eyeballs you and he's like so weird and he's sweating, and that's gym. Ugh. The gym is so disgusting to me mostly, and I don't care how many people have all these fancy new gyms and there's no intimidation. Every single gym like thrives on gym intimidation. It just
gym intimidation.
But it happens all the time. Like,
I've learnt a new word.
There's not one woman that I speak to that says they didn't feel bad walking into the gym, because everyone turns at them, looks them up and down.
There's mirrors everywhere. Like, you can see
everywhere.
Every single jiggly part. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's a weird vibe anyway, because everyone's like kind of insecure, so it's like just putting a whole bunch of insecure people in a box together.
Yeah,
it's weird.
They should do a Big Brother gym edition.
Yeah. But it'd be so, because don't forget, there's all different levels of people who exercise. There's you and me who want to do it outside and feel the wind in our hair.
You want to be cold and feel alive.
And I want to, I think that I love like using crazy stuff to exercise with. Like, not crazy, but I like going to kids' playground and like making a workout and things like that.
Whenever I go, I got a 3 and a 6-year-old. Whenever I go to
they love it. They're sick for it.
I'm hanging from the monkey bars because
Yeah.
I like stretching my back. I like doing chin-ups. I like swinging back and forth. And you think, well, going back to the monkey thing.
We are monkeys.
What's how we evolved? Hanging from things and using our core to get us from places to places.
And can I say, it's 1,000% more effective than just sitting on that chest press. Like, how boring.
And I was saying before, I started 10 years ago running 40Ks. I would never have done things like hang from monkey bars and because probably a good topic is how things, the fitness industry or the fitness knowledge has changed. 20 years ago in the 80s,
it was 30 all about machines. The evolution there, it happens maybe every 5 years or every 10 years. So I can even think back to when, I think back to the 80s, and I used to go to, and this is so embarrassing for my father, but I used to go to the gym that he did workouts in, but he did aerobics. And I used to sit at the back and be like, yeah, okay. And I used to sit there. And it was like this weird, but like for men, and men did it. That's what they did.
But that's when it really started, right?
Yeah. And that was a big push. And that was all the like leotards and all that kind of lycra and craziness. And then because it was very Americanized, like fitness is so Americanized. So then all the bodybuilding movement came in, and it was very much like the Arnie Schwarzenegger. And then women started to get quite scared because they thought, oh, I see those bodybuilders and that's going to be me. It's like, no, they're taking drugs. That's why they look like that. And then the next evolution has been a bit of like the Pilates vibe, where don't lift a lot of weights and you just do dancing workouts and things like that. And look, that's all fine, but really at the end of the day, you were talking about things that are effective, and you even found yourself, you can't just run your life away. You've got to be lifting weights. You've got to be lifting weights. You've got to be doing some cardio exercise, and you've got to combine it together.
Yeah. That's what I found over a 10-year journey.
Yeah.
Because I went running.
If you would have called me, that wouldn't have been 10 years.
Yeah, well.
You wanted to find it out for yourself.
It's also part of my own
journey.
Personal journey and growing experience. And I kind of had to discover it myself.
And you're better for it.
Yeah, pretty much. But what I do is 3 days on, 1 day off.
Yeah.
And minimum 20 minutes, probably maximum 45.
Yeah.
If I'm really, really motivated. And it is a combination of cardio, lifting weights.
Yeah.
And lots of stretching in between.
Yeah. Oh, then that's another key component that we forgot, like the whole downtime and the rehabbing.
Yeah, I have to do one day off every 4.
Yeah.
Sometimes more if I overdid it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one told me, because in the 80s, I remember in the 80s, and I was like a really little kid and training for football, because I was a good little soccer player, and you'd speak to the seniors, and it was train till you vomit was the thing.
Oh, that was so popular then.
Yeah, like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You think about that now.
But and it's weird, because not that I really go into that too much now, but I used to train quite a lot of older corporate men in the city, like, in Sydney and stuff. And I loved training them because I could kind of kick their ass, and they kind of, maybe it's a bit dominatrix, but anyway, it was fun. But the thing there was they were all old school footy heads.
Yeah.
And they were all real like, this is how we trained, and we'd vomit and da-da-da. And I'm like, we're so not doing that.
Sounds ludicrous.
And they all had dodgy knees, and they all had dodgy body parts.
If you didn't hurt yourself, you weren't trying hard enough.
And again, that's another really,
Absolutely
if it's not
crazy.
hurting, it means it's not doing anything. And unfortunately, that's such a bad, bad kind of mind space to get into.
I feel this is, we were talking about gyms and it being bizarre. Like, I feel like fitness is such a bizarre, not industry. I don't mean to be detrimental about the fitness industry.
It is a bizarre industry.
Because
I will say that.
And it's probably with diet. We haven't talked about much about diet yet. We might get there. I often think about, we've evolved over a couple of 100,000 years. 150,000 years ago, we would have just been doing enough stuff and eating a diet that fitness wasn't a thing, because you were just living to survive, and no one was obese or overweight.
You didn't need extracurricular activities to keep you lean and healthy. Yeah, it was just like life.
Yeah.
Like that.
So how has it become this thing where it's not our life? It's a thing that we do to maintain a healthy appearance, as opposed to having a healthy life. Because,
cha-ching, cha-ching. It's so about money. A lot of it, that the whole industry was like, if people are fat and unhappy, surely we can make some money on that. And, I think that what happened is then that kind of, that pushed. So then let's sell them stuff they don't need, like supplements and all of that extra stuff.
That's what's I've always found a little bit disgusting.
Yeah. Do you know it's like a billion dollar industry?
And I've deliberately stayed out of it because of it. I see people, gym junkies, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. And I just think, well, come on, let's stop taking advantage of people. And this is why I've really enjoyed this conversation so far, is that you're actually talking about something that's meaningful and purposeful for individuals, as opposed to seeing a buck that can be made.
And like, that's the biggest thing about my industry. And I like to almost like remove myself from it and go like, but I'm not part of that, because I don't want to be associated with pyramid schemes for Juice Plus and supplements and all of this kind of stuff. What I want to do is go, you know what, if you're in your backyard, or you're at home and you're a stay-at-home mum or dad, well, you can have workouts on a dining table, and that's totally fine. You don't need to go into someone's pyramid scheme and give them money for protein shakes. It's just not necessary. Like, I think we're really, again, it's like it's a money thing. It's a look, understand that people who really aren't feeling amazing about their bodies, they feel insecure.
They're vulnerable.
So vulnerable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And look, let's not get, obviously there's times where you need to have that outside help, and there needs to be maybe supplementation or things. We're not talking, I'm just talking about the general day-to-day where people have this thing. There's like 5 things they're taking.
Yeah, no.
And that's costing hundreds of dollars. It's just not necessary.
So where do people start? If you're talking to someone from the Highlands, where should they start? Where's their baseline? Where do they?
Well, I think it's nice to like step back and just say, okay, number one, what is it that I want? What do I want from this? So that would be like a goal thing.
Yep.
And to then say, for them personally, what is it that I enjoy doing? So do the things you enjoy doing, a bit like how you started with running.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to do 10Ks 4 times a week, but you need to, it's nice to go, you know what, I do like going to a dance class, or I do like exercising at home.
Exercise should be fun.
Oh my God. And I hate that celebrity trainers turn around and say, exercise doesn't need to be fun.
Which should be.
Hello, then why would you do it day in and day out?
Yeah.
I really hate this like draconian, lets everyone hate it. It's very army, very militant, and I'd get kicked out of the army like in an hour. I would not conform. I wouldn't even make my bed, so I'd be out of there. But it's that real draconian, like you can only do it this way. It's BS. You can do it however you want.
Yeah, no, I'm learning that myself.
Yeah. And like, if you want to go to the park with your kids and hang off monkey bars and make that a workout, then guess what? It's a friggin' workout.
You know what? Playing tip with kids for 20 minutes, you're done.
Yeah.
You're jumping on the trampoline.
Yeah.
With children for 5 minutes.
Totally.
You're absolutely done.
Yeah, I know.
Not just mentally, but...
One of my clients has a trampoline in her backyard. And I was like, oh my God, get on the trampoline. Let's do it. She's like, what? I'm like, yep, this is an exercise now. She was like, holy shit, it's so hard.
Yeah, no,
there you go.
It's really fantastic. So what you're suggesting that people just... take a step back.
Like, number one, take a breath. That's always a good thing because around this, like when you make a decision, you can be a little bit frantic and you can be a little bit like, I need it now. And it's like, step back, just take a breath, assess your goals. Don't even worry about the timing. Don't worry about that because that's not really up to them. Then choose the things that you like to do. And I always think it's like so much easier to just chat to someone about helping you rather than like making it about, hey, we're going to do home haircuts and everyone's going to get a home haircut instead of going to the hairdresser that knows how to cut hair. It's the same thing. Stop trying to work out this really great plan that you think will or that some other friend did or whatever. Just chat to someone. Chat to someone who's in your area or whatever. I think to just seek the help of a professional, even if it's a 1 or 2 kind of times thing, rather than a regular thing. Yeah. You have to have some kind of professional guidance. I think it just makes life so much easier.
And so what is someone going to get from a professional that they're not going to get on their own?
Well, I think they're going to be able to, as I was saying before, have someone unpack their goals a little bit better and to be able... So
this is still the psychological stuff?
Yeah, and that's if you're into it, because some trainers aren't. Some trainers like, come on, get down, do push-ups, do lunges, do whatever. But you're going to get someone who's going to go, okay, well, look, if you want X, Y, Z goals, well, then generally what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to train 3 times a week. We're going to need to do some strength training. We're going to think about changing up your cardio and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, with my clients personally, I don't know that I really sit down and say, now, this is what we're going to do. I don't even tell them in terms of, I'm just like, However, that's because I've been doing this forever. Yeah. So I can just go, I know this is what you need and this is how we'll do it. As not to overwhelm people. I think that is another
people are going
thing.
to be, if you're going to say, you know what, you're going to be doing this for 3 years before you reach your goals, they're not going to want to hear that in the first week.
And you know what, it's not even about that. Like, I know that working with someone for at least like a minimum of 3 months to 6 months, I know I can easily get in there and go, look how amazing you look, look how much you've changed in terms, because when you have a professional tell you what to do, your transformations happen so much faster because you get advice on your nutrition and whether or not you take it. And then, it allows you to just have a bit more of a system in place. So you know that you need to follow X, Y, Z, and then obviously the brain stuff comes into it.
We haven't talked much about nutrition yet. So I feel like nutrition, much like exercise, is when you go online, you're bombarded with like 17,000 different styles of diets. And like exercise, it's how do I figure out what's right for me?
And how can I tell if someone's just trying to make a buck out of me and make me feel even worse than I already feel?
I listen to a number of podcasts, and I reckon probably just in this year, so in the last 2 months, I've heard 3 or 4 different professionals come on with different recommendations. Don't there was an all meat one, eat nothing but meat, or the paleo.
How exciting!
Well, I suppose if you really really like meat.
You may die earlier, but that doesn't matter.
This gentleman, I won't go into the details, but the most fascinating thing about his diet was he never pooped. Because the meat, you absorb the whole thing. So he never pooped. And I was like, what?
Totally weird.
But it is. So how much, I guess what I really want to know is how much is diet, how much is exercise? Or is it both?
I really think that we do need to, it's the same as we're going to find that I guess formula for your exercise routine, what it is that's really going to just keep you motivated and keep you doing what you need to do. Consistency, consistency is the thing that gets results. When it comes to diet and exercise, like the age-old thing, is that, I've seen those things on Instagram that say it's all 70% diet and it's 30%, exercise. And look, to a point, you definitely need to be paying more attention to your nutrition than the exercise component.
Yeah, I feel like you could, if you wanted to change one thing and not the other, like if you could only change diet or exercise, you would change diet.
Oh, totally. And you know what? I'm not going to, so many trainers, because it's their bread and butter.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, don't come and see me, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No one's going to turn around and say to you, well, don't worry about the exercise so much. But I really think if you nail the diet and you really get that, eating intuitively, not prescribing to any particular diet. So we're not talking about being paleo or, just being the meathead that just eats meat constantly, or not being a vegan or whatever. Whatever your belief structure is, that's all great. But I think eating intuitively is like number one. Eat when you're hungry.
Yeah.
And you will find, and like that's just such a basic
eat less,
overlay.
do more.
Eat less, do more. My God, and look that the whole the energy in, energy out thing, it fires me up because sometimes it's not always that simple. Yeah. So a really quick example is if you've because I'll just speaking from experience, if I have a woman who's dieted pretty much her whole life. Really crappy diets as well too, slim shakes and all of that horrendousness, because they're sold on the 1,200 calories and that's what I got to have, and but they're very overweight and they're very unhappy. Well, I've got to think about, what we've got to do here is reverse diet. So it's like kind of refeeding and establishing all those better eating habits and getting a little bit of consistency in there, because they've just done 20 years, 30 years of
that's a long
really
time
bad
to change.
eating. It's disordered eating, and it's not dissimilar to like being an anorexic or a bulimic. It's like having to sit down and to go, look, this is a normal way of eating, and you don't need to fear food, and nothing is bad, nothing is good. It's just about eating, like just eating for nutrition, and then eating when you feel full, and then moving on. But we have so much, eating is such a it's a really important moment in our lives, and if you're like really screwed up about it because you've done lots of diets that like necessitate you to not eat and feel bad. Yeah,
or if you've seen it on TV or online or whatever,
or your favourite celebrities just lost 10 kilos and they're
you're bombarded by McDonald's ads or whatever all day, every day.
Yeah, again, it's the advertising. So when you just constantly, you're looking at it all the time. Women are just naturally told to be less. It's just a normal thing. We're like not going to get into women's politics here, but there's always something about women to just like fade into the background a little bit and just be smaller. Can you just be smaller? And that's the whole diet kind of evolution thing. So I think that number one, if you really know that you have bad eating habits and that you're quite aware that something needs to change there, you're going to need to sit down with a dietitian, nutritionist, and you're going to have to sit there and get a better pattern, develop something that can work better for you, because food is fuel, and I think it's not a baddie, it's like a goodie. Food's awesome, food's amazing.
And it should be able to eat a cheeseburger every now and then, or a piece of cheesecake, or have a bottle of wine or whatever. But it's about finding the right balance.
Yeah, it's not all or nothing. And that's the real big problem that fitness has. It's got a real all or nothing attitude to it. And if you want consistency and like a life-changing thing, a life-changing transformation, you have to be consistent and it has to be long-term. This is like short-term fixes. And I know people will say, I've done a short-term diet and I've lost weight. Well, tell me, sweetheart, have you kept the weight off?
Yeah.
Or is it on and then more?
Is the change sustainable? And was it just that you lost weight, or did you actually feel better?
Yeah.
And did it have any other life benefits for you?
Yeah. And that's where again women are obsessed with weight. What's my weight? What does it matter?
I don't do weight. I do. Like, can I fit into pants that I wore 10 years ago?
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to my partner about that, because he kind of almost went to like a reunion-y thing, just like with mates from school. And I said, do you know what I think the best goal in life to have is just to like kind of look the same-ish as just you. So everyone knows, hey, that's the guy.
Yeah, you don't want to recognize, oh God, is that so?
God, like Dave, he looks terrible.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what everyone wants, just to like be their best, vibrant, fun self and just kind of stay like that. Not age too much.
I think that might be a really good way to end the day. We've done 55 minutes like that.
We could talk all day.
I reckon we can. We'll definitely get you back. Before we go, how do people find out more about you?
Well, you can jump onto nataliecartertalksfitness.com. I've got my blog is there, and you can get in contact with me then. So I do classes all around the Highlands, individual stuff, so one-on-one personal training, consults as well at home. I think a lot of people have kind of home gym setups, which is a cool thing. So I go in and consult how they should be and what they can do with it.
That's really cool.
And group training as well too. That's a really affordable way of like doing some really great effective stuff, but in a group environment. You get to meet people around the Highlands, that's what I'm hoping. That's what the ladies like, because I do. It's helped me meet more people and just kind of expand it there. So it's been awesome talking to you. And I definitely will have you back on the program if you're willing to come back on. Oh, I think I could, take time out of my busy schedule. This has been HighCast with Natalie Carter. Next episode is going to be Peter Poole, who is going to talk about the world's greatest shave. See you next time.